Okay, so today I'm picking up Representative Tran of District 80 in Dunwoody. He was gracious enough to give us a few minutes of his time to ask him a few questions over lunch. Where are we going for lunch today?
So I keep hearing about this place called Zestos. So have you been?
No, I haven't.
Let's go check it out.
Let's check it out.
All right, sounds good.
We like to kick things off with a serious question.
Yeah, sure.
Drums or flats?
Drums are, you're not talking about chicken wings.
I am talking about
Yeah,
chicken wings.
Flats.
Flats?
Flats.
Me too. Flats all day.
Yeah.
And what about sauce?
I prefer dry rubs.
Okay.
If you don't have a good dry rub, then just make it as spicy as you can make it.
Oh,
So, have you ever seen those videos on social media where they basically push down on the flat and it becomes a drumstick? It makes it so much easier to
Really?
eat. Yeah, it's wild.
I actually haven't. I have seen some where someone just puts the flat in their mouth and just pulls out all
it out.
bones. That's when you know they're a pro. So, what made you run for office?
So, for my career, so to speak, I own a small cafe. And so when I opened up my coffee shop, it was right at like the 2020 pandemic hit 3 weeks after we opened up. And so we became a coffee shop that really supported the community, gave people a creative outlet and a safe space to work throughout the pandemic. And because of that, when my predecessor decided not to run for re-election, I had tons of phone calls and emails saying, we need someone like you down at the State House.
Wow. So the community pretty much was...
Yeah, they pushed me and inspired me. They talked to me about all the problems that they think the state is currently facing. And so I said, all right, I wasn't sure if I was going to win my election or not, but let's give it a try. Let's see where it goes.
And the people spoke.
And the people spoke.
So what's the craziest thing that happened on the campaign trail?
The craziest thing that's happened on the campaign trail. So it's not so much crazy because I would say compared to most others, I had a fairly timid campaign within my district, but I found myself campaigning with, say, Bean Nguyen, promoting ourselves as the two Vietnamese in Georgia running for office. She's going to be the first Vietnamese, what we were hoping, Secretary of State, and then I was going to be the first Asian Vietnamese to be elected in my district.
Oh, wow.
And so that was really cool. Campaigning with Stacy was really cool. It was a very fun and very positive, engaging campaign.
So a lot of firsts for the AAPI community here in Georgia.
A lot. So many of us got elected this last round that we were able to create an AAPI caucus.
One of the largest in the nation, right?
We are. We're only behind Hawaii. And funny thing is, when we officially set up the caucus, I did this press release and I went through every single state except for Alaska and Hawaii. And so I sent out this press release calling us the largest caucus in the nation.
And you got fact checked.
I got fact checked. I went to this conference that had the various AAPI caucuses from around the country, and this large Samoan guy pulls me aside and he goes, "So Rep. Tran, about that statement of you guys being the biggest AAPI caucus, Hawaii may question that." I'm like, "Oh no, you're right. You guys would be the largest by far." So I got fact checked, but it's still for Georgia. I think it's a very impressive thing for us to have an AAPI caucus, to have 11 of us elected to
definitely.
the legislature.
And even at the rate that Georgia is growing and expanding, who knows, maybe in a few years we will have the biggest AAPI caucus.
Maybe that would be very impressive if we got to that point. But I just hope we continue to diversify our legislature, and I'd like to see a few more AAPIs get elected as well.
So, who's the funniest representative?
The one that probably puts a smile on my face the most is Rep. Karen Lupton. Sorry anyone else who likes to crack jokes, But she's got so much energy, and she comes from a performing arts background. So when you
Okay.
talk to her,
A theater
Yeah.
kid.
ask her about theater, about singing and dancing. She is very animated, and so when she's asking a question, her arms are up, and she's making faces, and it's entertaining.
Mhm.
So I would give that to Rep Lupton.
What's something that is controversial that shouldn't be?
So guns, obviously, keeping them out of the hands of folks that seek to do harm should not be controversial. That should be a no-brainer, easy to pass bill, and we can't
Preach.
even get a committee hearing on it. Addressing poverty at the school level, K through 12, pre-K, is very important, and again, should be a no-brainer. But we're one of, I think, 3 states that do not fund students based on their poverty level. Other states do. Yeah, we're one of 3. I think maybe 1 or 2 more, but it's a very minimal number.
Yeah.
Most states will look at a child's economic background from their parents and will provide extra funds to help even the playing field.
Yeah, it's only right.
And so Georgia needs to do that. It needs to address poverty among our children. This is all what I consider controversial stuff when we're looking at we have the highest incarceration rate in the world of any nation, any city. Georgia incarcerates more people per capita than anyone else.
Wow.
And we all know that education is a good way to avoid ending up in that
Yes.
system.
So shifting gears,
Yeah.
what's something that you do when you're not legislating? How do you spend your free time?
So, of course, spending quality time with my family is a big deal, doing whatever free time I have. And, for fun, pre-pandemic, I'm a little bit adventurous. I like to skydive, scuba dive.
That's a dream of mine, skydiving.
I'm all about the risk-taking.
Extreme sports?
Extreme sports. Post-pandemic, that's been shelved and probably shelved for a long time, as long as I'm in the legislature. And, of course, I like working at the coffee shop I own, making coffee and bubble tea for customers and even meeting with fellow legislators there.
I am a boba fiend.
You
I
gotta come.
love boba. I need to stop by. What's the name of your shop?
It's called Peachy Corners Cafe. Peachy, Peachy
Peachy Corners
Cafe.
Cafe. Okay.
In Peachtree Corners.
In Peachtree Corners.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Y'all heard that? Peachy Corners Cafe in Peachtree Corners. And what is your go-to boba order?
For me, I like an almond milk tea with boba and grass jelly. That's my
Almond
favorite.
milk tea with boba
Yeah.
and grass
And
jelly.
you can't find that at very many places.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of the grass jelly.
Yeah.
What's a fun or interesting fact about you that most people don't know?
So when we were talking earlier, how I probably the only rep who knows how to drift virtually any vehicle.
Any vehicle. Even the
There-
Suburban?
Even the Suburban.
Wow.
There's a reason for that. I am the only rep in the State House that is certified to stunt drive on movie sets. And I
Oh,
have
wow.
stunt driven on movie sets.
That's
So
amazing.
that's something probably not everyone knows about me, but it's a fun, I hate calling it a hobby, but I don't do it full time. I get asked to do it a couple times a year, and so it's a fun thing to do. And yeah.
What is your favorite movie to have been filmed here in Georgia?
So, Baby Driver is definitely up there as one of my favorite. I was an extra, which is how I got into the movie business, on the film Ant-Man.
Oh wow, the first one?
The first one, the very first one. So about 15-16 minutes into the movie, there's a scene where the villain is having lunch with the Wasp. She wasn't called the Wasp then, but I was the waiter who served them their lobsters.
Oh wow.
So like it's a blink and you miss it moment, less than 2 seconds, but that was my first foray into filmmaking and seeing how it's done, and have been hooked ever since. So that's probably my favorite one that's been filmed here. So now, not a movie, but a TV show on HBO. It's called Watchmen.
Oh, I've actually seen that too. It's
yeah.
really good.
So there's a scene where they flash back to Vietnam, and the US had won the Vietnam War, and so Saigon was a different alternate universe from our reality. And so so I'm also seen in that. I'm one of the puppeteers during a scene, but Regina King, who stars in that, I get to say I taught Regina King how to speak in Vietnamese and use profanity left and right, fitting of an HBO TV show.
So you taught her all the bad words.
All the bad words. So that was a really cool and fun thing to do.
Wow, it's amazing. 2 things that I have seen and actually enjoyed that you have been in. Alrighty, we are pulling up to Zesto's.
Yeah.
What are you in the mood for?
Let's get 6 pieces of wings, since we talked about wings earlier.
That sounds good.
And then let's get a burger.
Okay, sounds good. Which one are you thinking?
You know what? Scratch the burger for me. Let's get a gyro wrap.
Okay, sounds good. We'll do a gyro wrap. May I please have 6 piece of wings, hot?
Solo or combo?
Solo?
Blue cheese or ranch?
Blue cheese or ranch?
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese, please.
What else for you?
So how's it been now that you're a legislator? Are there any parts that are confusing? Is anything a letdown?
There's not really any letdowns. Definitely nothing confusing. It's been a good experience so far, but the challenge is learning the different personalities, right? Because everything's a negotiations. Even within your own party, it's a negotiation. So the challenge would be learning what I would have guessed 12 personality types. Feels like there's over 100 personality types now. I was still surprised about how many lobbyists there were, even though I knew the Capitol was chocked full of lobbyists. But it's kind of strange to just be walking and have someone just hand you a burger or a prayer card. It's just like odd. That. But one of the things I've found curious is at the start of session, everyone kept mistaking me for either Rep. Sam Park or Rep. Marvin Lim.
You don't even look alike.
Yeah, but the danger to that is if they think I'm them, and I'm sure they thought those guys were me, people yell stuff at you in the hallway, right? Rep. Park, don't forget this or that. Rep. Lim, don't forget this or that, or see you this afternoon. And if they're mistaking me for that rep, that message is not getting to the right person.
Oh, and then they're like, that rep didn't listen to me. That rep ignored me.
So to distinguish myself, I actually grew a beard. But
actually, the picture I saw of you was with a beard.
Yeah.
How do you deal with stress?
So I have a fairly good outlook on life. Things happen to the best of your control, and if it fails, it's not the end of the world. People ask me all the time, like, weren't you scared starting a business? And like, of course you have your concerns and you want the business to succeed, but failure is not death. You don't die from failure. And so, knowing that the worst case scenario is you lose the money and you invested in the business, you still have, I hopefully would still have my wife and my kids. And, I'm still, even though I'm 47, I'm young enough to rebuild and start over. And so stress to me, if it's something you cannot directly control right then and there, you just gotta not pay attention to it, just let it go. and focus on what's
What you can control.
and what's right in front of you.
Mm-hmm. I like that. A lot of us could use that kind of outlook.
And I don't know at which point we convince people that if they didn't go to college, or if they didn't achieve a certain thing by a certain time, their life is over.
Thank you.
Right? There is no such thing as going to college straight out of high school, and if you don't do that, you're a failure. You know, you can wait a year or two to go to college. You can not go to college if your passion leads somewhere else. The 20s, looking back, is the best time in the world to take risks.
Yes.
And we're telling kids to not take risks, to play it safe. And I just disagree with that. It's your early 20s is a fantastic time to find yourself, to take risks, try new things, even start a business. And if you fail, you'll learn and you can start again. And you know, you've got many opportunities to just learn from your mistakes.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. You too. All right. This is double check. You got everything.
All right.
Got onion rings and gyro. And down below we got the wings. We're all set. You don't mind holding this for me? All right. Always pull around back. Okay, so we got the wings from Zestos.
You got the wings now.
And you were mentioning that viral trick to the flats.
Yes, so I'm gonna give it a try.
Okay.
What they do is they just push it down like that, and then it's like a drumstick.
Oh, and just pop it right off.
Just pop it right off.
I think I'm gonna give that a shot. So, let's see. The only way to do this is getting messy, right?
Yep.
Let's do it. Alright. So you slide the meat down.
Just push it down until it's a ball, and
Just like that?
you just pop it in your mouth.
Got some nice heat. They're good.
They are good. This place looks like it's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm. Let's check out this burger.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking. Let's give this gyro a try.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever gotten a gyro from a drive-thru before.
Me neither. So, Rep Tran, tell me, what is your guilty pleasure music?
So this will age me, but I'm a big fan of 9 Inch Nails.
Oh,
Also a big fan of LL Cool J.
I dig it. Do you have a mentor or someone you turn to?
Yeah. I turn to leadership a lot in the State House. Leader Beverly, Minority Whip Sam Park, Shay Roberts. Depending on what we're discussing, what we're facing, I do look to the folks who have been there for a while to provide context. Right?
Yes.
Have we addressed this issue before? Have we been addressing it for 20 years now and made no ground? Or we addressed it 20 years ago and it's coming back and we've forgotten that we passed a bill that addresses it. So I rely on some folks call them the elders, but
The more seasoned.
the seasoned legislators, definitely rely on them for context and history.
That's great.
Not too bad.
Thank you so much for taking the time to grab lunch with me today.
Absolutely.
Very insightful getting to know you and find out all these cool hobbies that you have and these extra roles that you've done in movies. And it's been a pleasure getting to know you.
It's been fun, and I enjoyed experiencing Zestos for the first time.
Me too. I'll definitely recommend it. Huge thanks to Rep Tran for joining me at lunch today. We got to try Zestos for the first time, got some wings, and got to hear about the work that he's doing advocating for the AAPI community and small businesses.
I'm David of Progress, Georgia, and thanks for tuning in to Freshman 15.